As a student, I think it's really important to learn about your brain because you're meeting new people, you are experiencing so many changes, and you're learning so much new stuff. Learning about your brain and how it works can help you manage it all a lot better.
So we see our neuroscience framework and philosophy manifest itself in two kind of specific ways in the primary level. One of them that was kind of unexpected is behavior management. So if the basics of neuroscience are that there's an input and then everyone processes that input and then there's some kind of output, you can talk to kiddos in behavior management situations. You know, for example, if someone doesn't line up when it's time to line up for recess, or someone's having a meltdown, you could say, you know, everyone got my same input. I did say it was time to line up, but your brain processed that in a different way. Can you help me understand why you're doing what you're doing? You know, it makes the kids more self-aware, and I think it makes teachers more aware of the diversity, the brain diversity in their classroom.
We're going to be using 360 cameras to create some social emotional learning opportunities using virtual reality. So this is a really great opportunity for kids to experience model behaviors, for example, how to line up properly as a class, or to put kids in a situation where they can gain some empathy.
In third grade, we've spent some time talking about how students can control their emotions. And so if they were at a 2 or a 3 or even potentially a 1, that's an extended conversation where you can ask students, hey, why do you think you might be feeling that way? What strategies could be used for you to be able to get to a 4? And then if they are reflecting and saying, my brain is controlled, I'm at a 4, then they could have that reflection time to say what strategies they're using.
We're able to talk to these kids about why is it important to know your own brain? Why is it important to understand your emotions and the messages that they send us to fully understand who they are and to be confident individuals moving forward in learning?
A test or some question on an assignment, then learning those ways of your brain, how it reduces stress or how your brain handles stress or anxiety, then you can actually reduce that by doing those techniques that you actually learned.
One way you can calm your brain is just taking really deep breaths, and it acts like, it doesn't seem like it would do that much, but it does.
The other big manifestation of neuroscience that I see just as a teacher is that you can frame different academic subjects differently. So for example, at Soaring Heights, kindergarten went to the zoo, but it wasn't a normal zoo trip. It wasn't the kind where you just kind of scurry about and look at the animals. Every child had a neuroscience notebook, and they had their pages divided into 2 sides, an input side and an output side. The input sides looked very similar. The kids were drawing the animals that they saw and the animals' habitat, but the output side was sort of left up to them. So it was really interesting to compare notebooks at the end and see, you know, what was your brain thinking when it decided to draw that picture?
We use neuroscience a lot in computer science and robotics because being able to understand how the brain receives and processes information allows us as designers to build better programs and better robots. And being able to understand how information is received and outputted with robotics, then we can build better robots that mimic human actions and can automate things that, you know, really better society.
The strength of our neuroscience framework really lies in that vertical alignment. So to summarize, in elementary school, they're focusing on that there's an input through your senses and that you're processing through your brain. And then you have some sort of output, a behavior or thought. And they're really focusing on mindfulness and ways to self-regulate. And in middle school, they're starting to dive deeper into that neuroscience content about the different types of neurons. There's different systems within your nervous system. Students then take their knowledge and apply it to real-world problems using the design thinking process in our 3 different modules: land, ocean, and space. For example, in middle school, students are learning about their stress response system, and they did a bunch of different research using EKG machines and seeing what different types of stimuli affect their sympathetic system. So for example, does their heart rate increase or decrease in different types of situations? They used virtual reality experiences to do this. They found empathy for their users. They interviewed their peers, different stakeholders of Soaring Heights. They defined the biggest problems within those interviews. And then they brainstormed different solutions. They created prototypes. An example was that a group of students said their user was extremely anxious about the core subjects he didn't understand. So they came up with this idea of an app that students could swap skills. So they knew there was a tutor time and different things you could build knowledge with teachers, but they wanted to learn from each other. So if one student was really good at playing the trumpet and another student was amazing at solving algebraic equations, then they could have that on the app, sort of like a Facebook profile. And then they could share that and they could meet and swap skills. And now they're testing their prototypes on their users and they're collecting authentic data using EKG machines and heart rate monitors.
Soaring Heights is such a unique school. We focus a lot on our movement, so we have a bunch of brain breaks, and we also have flexible seating throughout the whole entire school. And we also have our innovation time, so we are learning about emotions, stress, and how to handle that. And we also are learning how our brain works and how it inputs information, and then we output it by our actions. So overall, though, neuroscience is definitely the heart of it all.